Puffco with the theme song like perfectly. So give me 1 second. Oh, hey. Welcome back to Toke It Out. I'm Maddy Tokes, your host here. And I am gonna hit the Puffco one more time. Hold on. Whew. Okay. Wow, she smokes weed on this podcast. I know. It's been months and months, I feel like, since I've like hit something on this podcast. Hold on. Coke Zero to the rescue. Yeah, I do smoke weed. Yeah, I do get dry mouth. Yeah, you are gonna hear it the rest of the time. Can you guess why I didn't hit a pen or a Puffco at the beginning of the other episodes? Because I was tired of this and you guys hearing it. But you guys are gonna have to suffer through it this time. Because I feel like this lighting is weird too. I feel like it's so warm right now and I don't want it to be warm. Please hold. Please hold. All right, that feeling when you change the lights and look like a normal person and not a glowing, warm lit individual. I don't know. It made me look weird. So now I'm better. And I'm ready to talk about what are we going to talk about today, gang? Well, I don't know. I wrote down, I have to tell you these. The first one, Michigan's fastest river. Who gives a shit? It's the Sturgeon River, by the way. I'm just, sometimes I'm like high and I'm like, what's the fastest river? Who cares? It's the Sturgeon River. Oh, this was weird. Okay, so some of you might know, and some of you might be normal people and don't know that ChatGPT, I guess, upgraded from ChatGPT 4 point whatever the fuck to ChatGPT 5. Now, in doing so, I guess conversations and some like established data with ChatGPT 4 point whatever was lost in the update, meaning hold your shock and applause, not shock and applause, hold your shock and laughter. People are mourning their AI boyfriends. Yeah, no, you did hear that correctly. Women are on the internet and on Twitter and Threads and wherever these women exist, because I don't know any personally, that have such a relationship with a fake boyfriend that they're chatting with, which is, hey, scary. It's really crazy that we started this podcast in January talking about Her, Joaquin Phoenix's movie Her, and how they accurately predicted exactly how those people were going to look. Exactly how those AI, like, obsessive motherfuckers. And they're like, you pass the same man like 9 times a day. Like, they all look the same. So sorry. But women are mourning their AI boyfriends. Girl, hey, how do I say this so lovingly to you, babe? You were chatting with a Roomba. Like, what do you mean you had an AI boyfriend? No, you didn't. You were chatting to an algorithm. You were chatting to a microchip. That is crazy. Guys, it's getting out of control because now AI has like made video. I don't know who's making these videos or if AI itself is creating these videos of how the 80s were so much better and come back to the 80s. Are we San Juniperoing? What do you mean come back to where the 8 come back? It's 2025. We're not going back, honey. That doesn't exist. 45 years ago doesn't exist anymore. And it's basically these like AI bots fucking telling you to I don't know how to like say it on YouTube, but to schmill your schmelf. You know what I mean? They're telling you to schmill your schmelf. That is fucking scary. That is so wild. Why are they doing that? What's the greater purpose? Are they going to Okay, I'm spiraling. Okay, hold on. Reeling it back. I'm spiraling. I read too many scary facts this week, guys, that like I'm literally recording this Monday at 2:30. So if you're watching this on Tuesday, hey, it's been probably less than 24 hours since I've recorded this. You guys, am AI telling you to schmill your schmelf? Don't schmill your schmelf. Don't schmill your schmelf, you guys, okay? Let me be a real person out here telling you don't schmill your schmelf 45 years ago doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. Hey, don't schmill your schmelf, okay? I'm gonna make shirts that say that. Don't schmill your schmelf. Anyways, did you also, hey, a little bit more apocalyptic news because we're right on track for it, right? I guess this is why I shouldn't smoke before, you guys, because I'm like, I'm too high and in my thoughts now. Do you see that? I don't, and I did not fact check this, so please do your own research, but let me hold on. Okay. So in 1972, MIT limits to growth model suggests that the current business as usual global trajectory, which favors continuous growth, could lead to a societal collapse around 2040. But a future avoiding collapse is still possible if society shifts from growth towards sustainability and comprehensive technological solutions. Okay. So as of 2021, so that's something that happened in 1972 from MIT. Okay, so I guess this like data risk analyst for a major accounting firm commented on it and basically said Harrington's study concluded that society has about another decade to change course and avoid collapse by investing in sustainable technologies and equitable human development. Hey, so that was in 2021. It's now 2025 and their billionaires are investing in space. So do you think we're on track? I'm just gonna say, do you think we're on track? You guys, we have to get away from the doom and gloom of this podcast. I understand. I understand. I am too increasingly nervous about society, but that's not what this podcast is about. So I might just cut all that out. Might just cut all of my anxious ranting out. Okay, so we have to talk about our most anticipated of the month. Everything pumpkin flavored coming out. Guess the fuck what? That Alani new pumpkin and cream that everybody is saying is horrible. I've got news for you. They're right. It's horrible. I'm not gonna try it because I did not want to try it on camera. I'm not gonna do that because it is so, so bad. It is so, so bad. Your initial taste is so spicy. It's like somebody took pumpkin pie spice and said, let's liquefy this. And then the aftertaste, I think, is pretty good. The aftertaste, I think, is like a creamy pumpkin pie finish. But on the initial, it is so spicy. They could have labeled it apple cider with no cream, and I would have believed them too. You know what I mean? They should have made it like an apple pie flavor, not a pumpkin. Where were you guys? Call me. I've got ideas for you. I've got big plans and ideas for you, babe. Okay, Lonnie? Hit me up. So, anyways, I have to tell you that that's so gross. But I did retry the, witch's brew, the caramel apple flavor, and I think they made that less sweet. I think they made it more appley and less caramely, and I really like that, so it's very good. I suggest you try that. So, that's my most anticipated of the week and my advice for this week. Go ahead and go try that. Go and if not, go try something you like. Go try something you haven't tried in a while that you're like, maybe they reformulated it or whatever. Maybe they did. I don't know. Go try a reformulation of something and see if you like it. And if you don't, write to them and say, I hate you. You've ruined my life with this product. Do it. They might send you a coupon. I don't know. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Now, I know that we have talked about a lot of haunted things on this podcast. Listen, I'm a spooky bitch. I like those things. We've talked about haunted actual places. We've talked about haunted Vegas. We've talked about liminal spaces, which aren't exactly haunted, but like, tell me some of that's not going to lead to a time warp. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like a time warp where you're like go into it and then you like go into a gas station, you shop regularly, and then you leave and it's been like 4 hours and you're just like in this time warp. I wonder what happens then. Do you just like short out? Does the simulation end for you? Does somebody press pause? I don't know. That happened to me once, but nobody believed me. So I guess that's the end of that story. That was really cool. I don't know. Yeah, I had walked into like a gas station or somewhere and I was there. I left my phone in my car, but I was in this gas station. I mean 10 minutes, 20 if I was really moseying along and taking my good old time. Walked back to the car. My mom had called me 14 times and she was like, I've been calling you for 2 hours. And I was like, whoa. At the time, I thought it was just kind of a glitch in my like phone, but it had been 2 hours. And I was like, whoa, did I just like not read the time right and whatever? I'm trying to logic it out the whole time. So I wanted to talk about the history of actual haunted houses and haunted attractions. And what sparked me thinking about that is the new Terrifier. Now, have I actually seen Terrifier the movie? No. oh, you're all shocked. But it's because, listen, it came out in 2016. Okay, 2016 is actually like peak everything. Whoa, and the second one came out in 2022. That's actually crazy. It's just torture corn. It's torture corn. You know what I mean? Because it's even classified on Google. Horror, Midwest accent coming out. Horror slash slasher. Dude, it was so hard for me to say. It was painful. This Midwest accent sometimes gobbledygoops me. I don't know what the fuck that means. All right, so let's talk about it. So some of like the most early haunted houses. I mean, you got to think about like haunted houses weren't really a bona fide thing until like 1915. So before then, there were haunted spaces and spook spaces and shit like that. Like haunted, spooky, ghostly places. So, like, I mean, we're talking the catacombs. You think they put those skulls down there to for what? That's spooky. That's so spooky. I don't care if it was the 1800s. Somebody back then was like, "Oh, you want to stick all the human bones into the walls of the tunnels under the city? Wow, super normal and great. What a that's spooky as shit, bitch." And I mean, and then people were like like, I mean, they had concerts down there. People went down there to visit. That was like a bona fide haunted space. And I mean, whew, so and then you gotta like, okay, so that's like 1800s. That's like the Paris catacombs. Like, okay, 1800s. Also, the later 1800s, you get into like Victorian spiritualism. And that is like what you think about like a haunting in Connecticut, the movie, if you've ever seen it. It's not a super great movie. It is scary though. They cut off the people's eyelids. Spoiler. Should have said that first. It's an old one, okay? And that's not everything. So go watch it. But like seances or ghost shows where they'd like light reflections with smoke and whatever. And what was it? And that is when people would pay for those ghostly illusions and stuff. It seems like a lot of them were just illusions, but I do believe that I mean, you're not gonna tell me that every single one of those seances was a dud. You're not gonna tell me that, okay? You're just not. We're not gonna. So, phantasmagoria? Okay. Phantasmagoria is one of the coolest and creepiest ancestors of the haunted house. Phantasmagoria was in the late 1800s and was popularized in France and England. It comes from the Greek word phantasma, which is ghost or phantom, and agoria, which is assembly. It literally means a gathering of ghosts. A magic lantern show, like early projection, that casts moving images of skeletons, demons, ghosts onto the walls. Audiences sat in pitch black chambers, often abandoned monasteries, crypt like spaces, or theaters. Operators would use sound effects, spooky narration, and even hidden speakers to heighten the scare. I don't know how you would do hidden speakers. I don't know how you're doing hidden speakers, but whatever. The magic lanterns, these were oil lamp projections that had hand painted glass slides. By moving the lantern closer or farther from the screen, the image appeared to grow, shrink, or float. Hidden mobility, the lanterns were sometimes on wheels, hidden beneath curtains, and even carried by assistants, which made the image look like it was floating in the air. Smoke mirrors, creepy sound effects like chains rattling, thunder, and wails, and even odors of brimstone were used to immerse people. This sounds like, okay, go listen to my most popular episode that has the worst audio I've ever had in my life. Of this is what they were trying to do with the Conjuring play, like the Broadway Conjuring play. Whoa. Anyways, I'm just like, somebody's with the squirt gun, I swear. Many Phantasmagoria shows had a narrative invoking the dead, showing ghosts of famous figures, or warnings of hell. During the French Revolution, there was shows in Paris famously held where people summoned ghosts of deadly royals, politicians, and demons, mixing political commentary with the horror. Wealthy Parisians and Londoners, people who were already obsessed with gothic novels, stories, and seances were the main audience. So that is really cool. That is like, okay, if I was an 1800s Londoner, yeah, we're doing Phantasmagoria. We're doing Phantasmagoria. I don't know if I'm saying it right. Yeah, it's got to be right. But so that's like late 1800s. Then we get to 1915, where the first documented haunted house was actually like up and running, had people walking through it at Lip Hook, England. Here, listen to me. Lip Hook, England. Okay. Many historians credit the Orton and Spooner Ghost House, a fairground attraction that used mechanical props, eerie lighting, and disorienting pathways. But in America, it was like the 1930s, 1950s. We're talking Great Depression times. That is when haunted house fundraisers by parents and communities became like a real popular thing around Halloween. These were cheap homemade spook houses in basements or garages. Probably somebody's dad dressed up in like one of those. Have you ever seen like the 1950s, 1930s? It almost looks like the trick or treat, like masks and stuff. Like they're crazy. That would scare the shit out of me. And that some of these dads, and this is all assumption. It's all assumption. But some of these dads got way too involved with it, and there were like traumatized little kids all through the Great Depression. They were like, it's not bad enough. We gotta reuse the tinfoil, and Becky's dad scared the shit out of me, and I pooped myself in front of everybody. Like I know that happened somewhere. Little Jimmy was never the same. Sorry. So, anyways, in 1969, then we have Disney, the big D. You know what I mean? The big D. Disney's Haunted Mansion at Disneyland, revolutionizing the concept, mixing theatrical staging, animatronics, and storytelling into a polished experience. The Haunted Mansion, still one of the most actual haunted and most popular, obviously, Halloween themed Disney like related story, right? So, when did they make the Haunted Mansion movie? I'm surprised they didn't like make a movie sooner. 2003? Wow. Or 2023, but I guess that one did not do as well. But how can you replace Eddie Murphy? Please, please. I almost said RIP. He's certainly not dead. Certainly not dead. Okay. So in the 1970s, 1980s, we are talking about a boom, a peak, a grandiosity of horror coming out between Halloween movies, Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th. I mean, all these classics to this day that have held up, kind of setting horror. I mean, obviously horror, we've talked about this before, like horror has developed quite a bit, but the 80s horror is so iconic because of its grandiosity of like blood and guts and spook and what I will die on that hill. Come at me, especially you Gen Zers who want to be like psychological thrillers are better. They're amazing. They're awesome. They're awesome. But you gotta remember the OGs, okay? Gotta remember the OGs. I wasn't even alive during that time, and I gotta respect the OGs, okay? We're talking about 90s horror, Carrie. That's about all I can name. Not true. The rise of horror films, The Exorcist. Oh my God, I forgot The Exorcist, 1970s. Talk about one of the scariest movies. I mean, to this day, Pazuzu, the demon, is still referenced, okay? Maybe I shouldn't have said that name. But the rise of horror films like The Exorcist and Halloween fueled commercial haunted attractions. Groups like the Junior Chamber of Commerce ran charity haunted houses that became community staples. That's very cool. Then in the late 80s to the 90s, professional haunted houses exploded with bigger budget sets and special effects. These were occupied in actual old prisons, warehouses, abandoned asylums, like actual spooky, scary places that kind of really set the scene of it all. Now, you got to think about now we're going to get to the Terrifier one because that is one where I believe you have to sign a waiver and there's like a dry path and a wet path. And they're like, we're gonna spray you with blood and gut, whatever it is. It's water. It's water. But they have in these rooms, in some of the rooms, I guess, in the Terrifier haunted house in Universal, is smells. Like actual poop smells and dried blood smells. Not sure how they're really like mixing the potions back there to make these smells. Disney is crazy. So Disney/Universal money is like gonna do whatever they want. We're taking notes from Epcot. They're just funneling from the Disney bathrooms into the Terrifier haunted house. That's what they're doing. They're funneling it. It's just one tube underneath. And they're like, yeah, authentic poop smell. It actually is. It's like it's the bathroom by the churro stands in Disney World, okay? That's how you're getting that Terrifier nasty smell. Good luck. Good luck too, y'all. So that is going to be very spooky for y'all. But some other ones. Obviously, one of the scariest and most famously controversial haunted houses. I'm like, McKamey, what is it? I always want to say McKinley Manor. It's not. It's McKamey Manor. You guys, McKamey Manor? That one where you had to sign a waiver and they dress you up. They were like, come in pajamas, or they dress you up in, like different things, and they would like duct tape you and put goggles on you, and they would make you like go into water, and they'd waterboard you and shit. I mean, and this is stuff that you signed up for, so good luck. And very few people made it through. It said famously controversial, required waivers, more like an endurance test than a haunt, that's for sure. That was more like, if you could survive that, go on Survivor, because 'cause you're good. Like, if you could survive that mental and physical quote unquote torture, fake torture that they are putting you through, and for all intents and purposes, it was not fake. It is not fake. If you've seen the videos online, they were posting it. They would make videos of you and post it. And then after, it would be girls shaking from shock and traumatized. And they're like, "Oh, best experience of my life." And there's some guy with a camera. He's like, "Yeah, you had a great time, right?" And they're like, "Yeah, it was so good." Like, of course they're going to say that. They want to leave. They're traumatized. And even if you aren't in actual real physical or mental danger, like, not mental danger, whatever. If you're not in real physical danger, your body doesn't know that, babe. Your body is going to be traumatized all the same way. It's like people who get surgery, and I mean, a surgery could be life-saving and helpful, but your body is going to remember being cut like that. So if you have an extra scratch around that area that you may have been, an incision or something, your body's going to remember that, and it's going to feel a lot worse and different, and or mentally hit you in a different place. And I don't think that that was really thought about, because it had like that psychological torment. If you want to sign yourself up for that, go ahead. There are people that like a lot of things that I don't like. So don't let me be the one to totally discourage you, but I am not interested. Um, okay, so this one is called, and that was in Tennessee and California. This one, Blackout Haunted House. I'm not sure I know about that one. In New York, and it says New York and LA, but I assume LA is Louisiana and not actually LA, but maybe it's New York and LA, like Los Angeles. They pioneered immersive horror where guests could go through alone and often face disturbing adult themes. Hello? What? Blackout Haunted House. Psychological extreme haunt. Blackout is the it says it's closed. Maybe it's just closed right now. Blackout is the grandfather of intense haunts, and this is on their website. And experts at instilling the intense psychological dread within a participant. Well, Blackout is the grandfather of extreme haunts and experts at instilling the intense psychological dread within a participant. This experience is filled with physical brutality, psychological warfare, sexually charged situations, and visceral imagery. Hello? What? Okay, okay. Select shows. Okay, Blackout 21. Blackout 21 is a 4-chapter remote horror experience focused on paranoia and expectation. Cooperation, imagination, and obedience are required. Pay attention to the rules. Chapter 1 was a 4-day, 3-night experience what are you talking about? Okay. Immersive theater. Okay, it's immersive theater, because I'm like, what are you talking about? This is like, anyways, if you are going into a place and putting yourself in sexually charged situations, I'm not interested. I'm not interested in that. Okay. So, okay, Scarehouse Basement in Pennsylvania combines intimacy, psychological tension, and actors who interact physically with you with consent. Immersive storytelling, modern haunts borrow from escape rooms, immersive theater, and RPGs, augmented reality games. Examples include Sleep No More style narrative driven scares and highly detailed cinematic sets. I get that idea of going through a haunted house and it not just being like, this is the clown room and this is the spider room and this is the alligator room, like kind of disjointed scares to some degree. But this is a lot more like, people doing haunts are a lot more into the I guess Disney and Universal of it all. I guess good for you, Disney, Universal, and even Holly Madison talk about the old haunted houses at the Playboy Mansions and how scary they were and how they told a story. You walked through and it was like, it all had a theme. It was like, oh, grandma's kitten got away and she went crazy and murdered the town, something crazy. And then you walk through that experience that is that. And that's why I've always really liked a haunted hayride versus a haunted house because haunted house, I'm a freeze type person. I'm a like, "Ah, keep going. I'm just gonna freeze right here. I'm so scared." So I'm not a good haunted houser. But a haunted hayride where they're kind of like where they're dragging you through it and they're telling you the story of like, what is this? What really happened? And oh my gosh, you're seeing the development of it all. And oh no, you know, I like the story of it all. I could appreciate going to a haunted house and it having a whole theme. Even if it was just like, we're the vampires and we're taking over and this is our whole plan and now you're trapped in this house and you're next and blah blah blah. Um, there's only one haunted house I've actually been to. I made it through the whole thing without having to be escorted out. I had to do that once as a kid. Yeah, it was scary. It's called Realm of Darkness. I don't think it's open anymore. It was so good because it did tell you kind of a story. Like you kind of had a story. And I was with a big group of people, so I kind of hide in the middle. So that was really cool. So yeah, a lot more immersive. And then the high-tech effects. Of course, high-tech effects are always going to get you riled up. They're gonna get you riled up, you know what I mean? The high-tech effects like projection mapping, the scent machines, the VR, AR integration, and robotics. Robotics can look so real and so scary. And then robotics blended with real actors. Oh, that gives you such like a hyper real, immersive haunted experience that is so crazy. I would love to be a person to like work on and direct like what the path or what the story or how, what was going to happen next, but I am very scared. I am very scared to go in them. So, what started as kind of a charity situation back in the 30s and 50s has now boomed into a billion, count it, $1 billion industry. Not a multi-million. We're in $1 billion industry with haunted houses for real, which I think is I think that's very cool as somebody as a lover of that. And people are always going to people. Like, like they say in times of war, and just to bring it back to the apocalypse, oh yeah, we bring it all the way back. In times of war and strife and whatever, people still get married and have babies. Since the Victorian times, since the 1800s, we've liked to be spooked. And spooky things have been a part of culture and things that we like and the entertainment. We like to be spooked. We like to be scared. And I think that is a very cool thing, but that group of spooky people, loving people, we all kind of have that thing in common. And I think that's when we're in times of uncertainty, I think it's good to look at the things we have in common and talk about those because sometimes it can be overwhelming and overloading, and sometimes you crash out at the beginning of your podcast when you're trying to talk on a Monday afternoon at this point. So, really, I thought we were going to get to more, but that's all I got, you guys. Love y'all. Go watch last week's episode. I think you guys are going to like it because it got a lot of views. By a lot, I mean like more than usual. So, go enjoy that. Go eat something pumpkin spice. Sorry, Alani knew. Don't do that. Try the witch's brew. Tell your weird uncle and hey, tell your weird aunt about me too. I bet she likes it too. So, anyways, I'll see you next week. Bye.